WTR here, and recently I realized that if I am ever to do a top 10 figures of 2012, I've really got to start catching up on the figures that came out in 2012 in terms of reviews. So in coming weeks, expect to see more and more 2012 figures, starting with Lizard, who I picked up really early that year. I just never got around to finishing the review. So without further ado, here's the Marvel Select Lizard. Hello everyone, watch this review here. They look at the Marvel Select Lizard from the Amazing Spider-Man movie, or based on his appearance thereof. Now, from the moment I actually saw the film, I was really stoked on this design. Granted, it's really not quite the Lizard that we're used to in basically any iteration. He does kind of look a bit more like Killer Croc, but it's a really cool looking design regardless, and I do like it quite a bit. Also he's a lot bigger than sort of typical incarnations of the Lizard, which are generally around Peter Parker's height. This, in fact, is like twice his size or whatever, which, is still kind of cool. Then the movie is more powerful than just being a lizard with superhuman strength and durability. It actually has a regeneration factor, and it's a pretty significant one as well, without going into too many spoilers. Now, if you look at the production shots in the back of the package, it's not as finished as what we actually get. They tossed in some like white stuff there, and gives the character more of a sort of, I guess, Komodo dragonish look and stuff, where you have a different color underbelly, and sort of common in a lot of other lizards. I suppose this, I don't know, maybe it's more dinosaurish like paint job. I mean, this is how I remember him from the movie, I think, so yeah, it's cool. But hold on a second and I'll get him out of the box. Marvel Select Lizard is a pretty tall figure. He stands about 9 inches at his full height, although, it's kind of hard to balance him like this, partly because the ankle is just sort of weak. Generally, you have to adjust the stance so more of the weight's distributed. And then, of course, the tail acts as a great third point of contact, really balancing things out. Now, while he does lose a little height by sort of crouching down, it's not a significant amount. I still think he's over 8.5 inches tall. For a little height comparison, let's bring in the Marvel Select Amazing Spider-Man figure. This is from the Disney Store exclusive. It's a variant of the normal version, shiny metallic paint. And also a Marvel Legends figure. This is the Wave 10 first appearance Spidey. As you can see, he stands pretty well with both figures. I mean, that's to be expected with Marvel Select, given that, he should scale within his own line. But even the Marvel Legend does look great, because, this is supposed to be a ginormous character, and, I think I do actually prefer the look of the Legends, just in terms of scale here. So, either way, pretty cool. Now, I have a few criticisms with this figure. There's a lot of other stuff I do sort of like as well. At the time I picked him up, I didn't believe that I would be able to get the Walmart exclusive Hasbro version. Just Walmart ones are always sort of a crapshoot, so I picked him up, and I figured I'll just keep this one, not bother to get the Hasbro one. But it's sort of funny in that the head on the Marvel Select version looks kind of really big for the body, but then the head on the Hasbro version looks really tiny for its body, so if third company came along, maybe they'd do it just right. Just tossing it out there. Of course, the Hasbro version will have a little bit better articulation, especially because the hips on this are horrendous, but I think the overall quality is probably a bit nicer on this, especially when it comes to the head sculpt itself. Now, the paintwork on the front, not as impressive as the paintwork on the back. The green seems to have a lot more texturing to it. You've got these really cool deep black highlights, which gives, it acts as stripes in places, but, just in the back here, it looks really great. I'm not as fond of the effect they used for the sort of belly portion here, where it's sort of a cream applied on top of a cream / skeletal wash, or whatever color you call it, applied on top of the green, it seems. So, and that kind of brings me to one of the issues. If you look at the thighs here, they're sort of painted inward, but because of the articulation, you have to sort of move the legs, and it will look off balance because sometimes to get a good pose, they'll have a lot of this exposed. Sometimes a lot of the other. And it's just a general lack of balance. And I'm not sure if all of them are like this, but the ankles in this incredibly weak. He does have something kind of resembling ankle pivot, where it goes forward back, and then maybe it's not necessarily ankle pivot, but it seemed kind of like it at first. Articulation wise, it's very basic. For a lot of larger Marvel Legends, they do just toss ball sockets at the major joints rather than have like pins and stuff, and then rotation. And he really would have benefited from having an additional point of rotation here at the thigh. But quick run through. He has ball socketed wrists here, which I do want to point out. The Hasbro version only has rotation, so point for him. Ball sockets here at the elbows, pretty decent range. Then ball sockets at the shoulders. Head feels like it's on physical balls, so you get up-down motion, can get some side heads movement. We have a torso joint, good range forward back. Rotation, kind of weird. It seems to go a lot in one direction and not at all in the other. Not sure if it's just mine. Sort of the hips here, once again, really annoying. We have a single line here, but it means you have to sort of rotate things and line that up to move it in and out. Makes posing difficult. Sort of ball socket here at the knee. Then at the ankle we have another kind of ball socket of sorts, which at times it sort of looks like it does pivot, but I don't think it technically does. All in all, the Marvel Select Lizard is a pretty nice figure. I'm not sure if it's better than the Hasbro version, but I guess it's sort of a matter of interpretation. I do sort of like this one, but it's tough to tell if he is or isn't the definitive version. And by the way, tail is on a ball socket. Probably noticed that, but figured I'd confirm it. The big issues are just the articulation, and I don't like the head size, and the paint issue kind of where it's sort of decoed in places, and when you move things, the deco will look a little bit off. Otherwise, it's an all-around great figure, and you can't really go wrong buying this version. But yeah, this has been a look at the Marvel Select Lizard from the Amazing Spider-Man film. Until next time, folks.